Welcome to Zonie Living. Our guest today is a force of nature. She's an executive chef who has pioneered the culinary scene in Sedona. In less than 3 decades, she has built an empire. Chef Lisa Dahl owns and operates 6 incredible restaurants, and today she is the 3rd largest employer in the area. If you've ever had the pleasure of eating at any of Lisa's award-winning restaurants, you know how much detail, flavor, originality, and panache she puts into everything. She makes burgers sexy. She turns uninspiring spaces into Italian villas, and everything she touches is with artful hospitality, with the intention for a fabulous experience. Please meet the amazing Lisa Dahl, connecting with us right now from Cucina Rustica, her restaurant in the village of Oak Creek, Sedona. Lisa, are you there?
I am there. How are you?
Oh my gosh, it's so great to see you. So fun. I love the setting that you're in right now in your restaurant. And you have been called the most amazing things: Sedona's Queen of Culinary, the rock star of the Red Rocks. You are widely credited for Sedona's emergence as a national foodie destination. And not only have you brought amazing food to what is an outdoor adventure kind of town, but you've also brought elegance and style, and we just love that. You give people an elevated dining experience. You transport them to another place. What you have created not only fills them up, it fills their soul. And what do you have to say about that? I know you believe that food is not just about food.
All I can say is, wow. What you just said really butters me up. I think that going out to dinner or going out to lunch needs to be an adventure, and it needs to be a dining experience, not just a place to eat and fill up. And so I always feel like if someone left my restaurant and said it was okay, I feel like I failed
Wow.
somehow.
Yeah, well, I know what a perfectionist you are and how detail is so important to you. The first time I was introduced to your culinary magic was probably about 15 years ago. I was dining in the very restaurant you are in right now, and I remember just savoring every bite, and I kept talking about how amazing this food was and how wonderful the atmosphere is. And here's what your website says. It says, Cucina Rustica offers Italian Mediterranean cuisine in a relaxed, fine dining setting reminiscent of an old world villa in Tuscany. And that is so true. It's so deliciously charming. And as I was enjoying my evening, I was also reading about you and fascinated by your story. And there I gazed across the restaurant, and of course, there you are, elegantly dining with your friends. And I had to stop by the table and thank you for such a wonderful experience. And I remember you being so warm and so gracious. And I, like so many, was so honored to meet you. And being in that restaurant, I mean, that night is so clear to me. And as I mentioned, it was a few years ago, was so special. And if you would share, why is Cucina Rustica so special to you?
You know, Cucina Rustica is it's magical. As you can see behind me, you can see the old world touches and the authentic antiques and things that were put in into a bare space. And I had opened Dahl Di Luca 27 years ago, and I adore that restaurant, and I'm sure everyone knows that. But it's a smaller restaurant, and we can't always do a lot of the things that we can do here at Cucina. So when I had the opportunity to come into this space, it was like being in an almost like a Pandora's box of possibilities. I was able to go on a big shopping spree and find all kinds of unique elements of design. It was one of the best things that I've ever experienced. And even it honestly feels like it was just yesterday.
Mm.
But at some point, I will show you around the restaurant so you can see the touches that make it a world-class dining experience like no other. Antique gates, doors from all over the world, vintage columns, and things that are just something very rare that you don't see, but yet it's timeless at the same point. I always call this restaurant subtitle The Doorway to the Imagination,
Mm.
because that is something that everyone can go back in their own vision of time and feel where it reminds them of.
I love that. I'm writing that down right now. The doorway to the imagination. Well, if this is a good time, we would love to have a look around your restaurant.
Really? Okay, we would love to do that. I'll get ready to take you on a tour. We have four distinctive rooms, and they are all named for the feeling that they exude. Peekaboo.
Aw.
Hey, welcome into the Giardino de Giustino. This garden room is in honor of my son.
Aw.
We created a starry dome
Oh my
to remind
gosh.
us of heaven on earth, and a
Mhm.
beautiful piazza that looks just like you are in a Mediterranean villa garden of its own. We put in the Acatillo handmade blinds, which look so gorgeous at night with the stars shining through, and wonderful old doors and gates, all of the light fixtures. I went down to Mexico and I had them handmade.
Oh my gosh.
So every little touch in this restaurant is meant to give you a sense of going back in time, but yet at the same time, it's very timeless. So the garden room seats about 65. And because we use the old world doors, we can literally close off our rooms and have private spaces, which makes it just wonderful for private parties. This room that we're entering is a totally different color palette and look, and I call it the Magellan Room. It
Magellan
just
room.
reminds me of an old Spanish
Wow.
room with gorgeous rustic colors and fabric chairs. It's just a very special, intimate room that makes a lovely place to have a party of 20 guests or so.
Oh, just beautiful. Yeah, thank you
Isn't
for
it
showing us that.
pretty? It's so,
It's
I just love this room with the dome ceilings and the old world chandeliers that I brought from Mexico.
unbelievable. Yeah,
And
absolutely
these
charming.
doors are just amazing. These doors are actually from Portugal.
Wow.
Aren't they great with the
Yeah.
original stained glass?
Oh my gosh, that's
Isn't
amazing.
it something?
What a
So
story.
imagine having such a lovely little event where you can just close off the rest of the world.
Aw. And you feel that way too when you're in the
Yes,
restaurant and you do feel like time sort of stands still and you're just transported back to a very, very special place.
it's magical. All the beautiful touches of old world prints
Hmm.
and the texture on the walls, which
Yes.
was really a form of art in itself.
Oh, absolutely. Right down to the walls. Unbelievable. And the colors, the
I had
paint.
the most amazing time working with an artist. He and I sat in this restaurant for months and months, working on the texture of the walls and hand making the color of the paints to get the essence of the old world. In the garden room, I call it like a sulfur mustard. It's something that I saw in Italy. Many of the old buildings have that rich saffron tone, and we recreated it. Something that I've never seen another restaurant that's any more beautiful than this restaurant.
You are such an artist. Yes, it is
Come
absolutely
follow
delightful.
me.
Oh, we'd love that.
Oh, what do you mind? Come
No,
this way.
we'll follow
So
you.
our beautiful back kitchen as we go, but down through the corridor, which is a bar that I call the Colonnade, because the Colonnade bar is it's four separate pillars or columns, and these are over 200 years old, each of these
Oh my
columns that are made
goodness.
out of solid teak.
I had no idea.
Isn't it special?
Really special. That is so cool.
And you see the different light fixtures, which all give a sense of a really warm environment. When you come in here in the evening, it's just like you can't wait to grab a seat at the bar. But even when you see these bricks that we made from scratch,
Uh-huh.
and I have to tell you that the memory that I had of creating these touches with a very special artist 20 years ago. And it breaks my heart to tell you that the gentleman, his name is John Kingery, he passed away. So all the more my heart is
Mm.
touched every time I see what he put into this magical space.
Oh, he
Now
sure
I'm going
did.
to walk you through our fourth room.
You know,
There
Lisa,
also is a painting of me right here
oh,
before you enter the
beautiful.
kitchen. And it's really fun because many times people will call me out and say, hey, is that the owner? And it really is
Oh,
something that touches my heart every time. I must tell you, these, for some reason, are my favorite of all the doors. I took these out of an old building in Mexico, and they are so amazing. They're old bar doors, and look at how grand they
oh my
are. And you
goodness.
can close them off for total privacy, or I can also invite you in right now into the
Oh,
room
how pretty. How
that we
tall are
call
those?
the Provence room.
Provence.
The Provence room is a room that reminded me of something you would see in Provence, France, because of the tapestry that I had from a collection from before I opened the restaurant. So I think it could not be a more perfect space filler there. It's just stunning. And
Mm-hmm.
then I have found this wonderful painting. So this room is just like the perfect room for a party of 22 to 24 guests. It's also wonderful because we have a fireplace
Oh,
that is
yeah.
authentic and it works. And this is the old Cantera. You might get a sense that I love doing decor. It's one of my favorite things about being a restaurateur is getting to design spaces. It's just there's something about that that just really it floats my boat, I'd have to say.
Well, you can just tell. You can tell, especially when we hear it from the owner. We can just really feel the passion for what you have
Thank you.
done in your restaurants.
I never walk in this room that I don't think about my mother because my mother was an amazing decorator. And when she was alive, she used to put her touches in this restaurant. And this bountiful fruit, all the more, brings out the feeling that you have when you're in Provence.
Mm.
And so this reminds me of my mother, Dorothy,
Very
who
nice.
is always with me.
You s-
Thank you.
you speak of your family so beautifully, and I can just, I can feel the sincerity and how important it is. And I know you have more than 300 employees, and you treat everyone like family, your guests, the people around you. It's really special, and you can just really feel that. You can really get that sense when you're in your restaurants and talking to you.
Bonnie, I'm sure that you know, but this is a dedication to my son, Justin,
Yes.
who is the inspiration for everything that I do. I lost my son in 1994 in the Bay Area. He was a good Samaritan. I came to Sedona to start my life over again, and
Mm.
this is my tribute to Justin. And anyone that knows my restaurants knows that he is present in his energy and his message, love is the solution. We reap what we sow. So each restaurant has a niche devoted to Justin.
Well, I love that. And I know the two of you had actually talked about opening a restaurant at some point. You've talked about him being a foodie as well and loving to
Well, I
cook.
don't know if he knew that we were going to open 6 restaurants, but I guess he's saying, "Go for it, Mom. Come
It
on."
sounds like it. It sure sounds like it. So wonderful. I wanted to talk a little bit about Dahl and Di Luca, Ristorante Italiano. As your very first restaurant, we touched on that, and that hard to believe that was 27 years ago. The restaurant is absolutely first class in every way, from the atmosphere to the cuisine. It's perfect for romantic dinners and celebrations. In fact, I have reservations right now to take a group of women from my upcoming media relations workshop to Dahl Di Luca. And we'll be going to at least one Lisa Dahl restaurant while we're in town for that. So I'm excited to hear more. It's been a while since I've been in that restaurant, but I know that has the same kind of magical experience that when you walk in the doors, you are transported instantly to another place and time.
Well, I'm so excited that you'll be going to D&D, as we call it, when you come with the group of ladies. And I hope that you're going to allow me to create a special menu for you and the ladies. That would
Oh,
mean so much to me, Bonnie.
I am so
But yes,
touched. Wow.
oh, you can consider that for real,
Oh my
because I
gosh.
wouldn't have it any other way.
Well, thank you.
Now, I'll
Wow.
tell you about Dahl Di Luca. It is, as you just mentioned, my very first, and it's where I came when I moved from the Bay Area to Sedona, and it is still just going like gangbusters. It's
Hmm.
very romantic, but it's also perfect for like intimate groups of women, which we do see all the time these days. It's also got a nickname. I call it the Shrine to the Divine because it is in honor of Justin, and I do believe that he guided me there. In saying that, there is a magical energy that some people feel if they're attuned to it,
Sure.
but it does take my breath away every time I walk in the restaurant. Many people don't know that it was a Sonic burger, believe it or not. And if you
Possible to
haven't
believe.
been in for a long time, you're going to be in store for a surprise because I think that you always have to give restaurants love and do things to make them feel fresh and new. So right before I opened up Mariposa, I started to work on a new look for D&D and just changing it up. And I can't wait for you to be able to see it. But I did a Venetian plaster. I worked with another master who was just wonderful with the wall cover finishes. I, the gentleman that I worked with was just wonderful with wall finishes. And I had a vision of something that looked very delicate and not quite as heavy as it did in the original days. And it's just been so well received. And we're constantly working on it. Over the summer, we've got some plans for new fabrication on our chairs and new carpets and things like that. But the energy is something that is very discernible, and the food is just so refined, and it's 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 like it gets better with time, which is hard to believe and very hard to do. But working with my young crew in the kitchen, it's really it's been something, getting through the pandemic and seeing the result of young culinarians that are still inspired to um, just keep getting better every day.
Yeah, absolutely. And Lisa, I know that you were called to Sedona. You felt like Sedona called to you and brought you there. And I believe you mentioned you had been there once before, but this was
Absolutely.
really a place to heal and a place to start another chapter in life. And
Absolutely.
I just love that, and I love how when people do enter your restaurants, they do want to know your story, and they do feel the energy that you've brought to it, and that Justin is there, and it's just very amazing and very special. And when I'm hiking or reporting on the Sedona Film Festival or some other event that's going on in Sedona, which are always fabulous, I like to take people to Lisa Pizza for the best gourmet pizzas, fantastic salads, and of course gelato. And now there are two Lisa Pizzas, which I am ecstatic about. You've got one in the Sedona area and one in the village of Oak Creek, which is now seen as the gateway to Sedona. Both have amazing settings, and it is just a wonderful place to introduce people to your restaurants.
Oh, I can't thank you enough for that. And I will have to tell you, it's actually Pizza Lisa, but I love that you call it Lisa
Oh,
Pizza
did I get that
because
backwards?
but it doesn't matter because it's so fun. It's Pizza Lisa, which is really meant to give a smile to people that know the hidden meaning, because the meaning behind that was that my father, when I was really little, used to kind of pinch me and say, "I want a little piece of Lisa."
Aw.
And it warmed my heart. And after my dad passed away, I was so sad and I was really unhappy that he never got to go to Pisa Lisa. So
Hmm.
I named it with a fun Pisa Lisa. I named my pizzas after my parents and after Justin, because every time that I hear a pizza with my parents' name or Justin's name, it just makes me feel like they're right here with me. And that's really my message to others is don't think that they are gone and that they can't still hear you, because they really can. And I think that that's the message I'm here is to um, let people believe in their hearts that those that have passed over, they're not dead. They are still with us and they can still hear us and they can still guide us. And that's what I'm living proof of.
Beautifully said. We feel that certainly here in the studio. And I have to tell you, my husband and I love Butterfly Burger. I can remember being at your special grand opening, and that was in 2019. And I was just wowed. You call it a Couture burger lounge, and there's definitely this upscale, sophisticated, cool vibe. You feature your over the top, unique burgers. Now, these are burgers that are award winning in the Scottsdale Burger Battle. You have imaginative, amazing side dishes. And of course, we have to mention the boozy milkshakes and an
Yeah.
emphasis on bourbon, and you feel that all. It's so unexpected when you're thinking about a burger and you come in and this is really something special.
I think it's a wowzer. And thank you for saying that about Butterfly Burger.
Love it.
Butterfly Burger is not like any burger place that I've ever seen in my mind's eye. And I really wanted to bring something very sophisticated that when you walked in the door, you basically forgot where you were. You could be in Manhattan, you could be in any city, or you could be in a little speakeasy. But it's such a sexy restaurant. And it's just, you know what? I wish I could eat there every day. It's just, I'd be so fat. But it's really like a hideaway in its own respect. And the word couture, I've never heard really in a culinary setting, but that's what I think it is. It's next level. And so you can go in there after a hike if you want, but you can also make it a fabulous date night. But it's got something for everyone. I'm proud of the menu. The Scottsdale Burger Battles were incredibly inspiring, and that's what made me decide to put in my first prototype here in the village of Oak Creek. But quite honestly, it's so sophisticated and could be in many markets. And I'm hoping the day comes that we can spread our wings a little bit and branch out. But whether that happens or not, I still feel that that concept is got something for everyone. The veggie burgers are amazing. And one of the things that people talk the most about is the Maui bites, the lettuce
Oh,
wraps with the mahi mahi
I've had
teriyaki
those.
bundles. They're delicious with the pineapple.
I know exactly what you're
Yeah.
talking about. So
Oh
good.
yeah, they make a great starter. And
Sure.
yes, you were at our opening party. That I remember now. It was so fun having you.
Oh, we felt so special. It was amazing, an amazing night. I also want to talk about Mariposa Latin Inspired Grill.
Oh
Now,
yeah.
at, at Mariposa, you bring together stunning architecture, floor to ceiling windows, an expansive patio, panoramic red rock views, and South American inspired cuisine. This is the one restaurant of yours that I have not yet been into, and
Oh my
I
gosh.
know it's terrible. So I cannot wait to be there. And I also know that Mariposa is
Yes.
Spanish for butterfly, of course, a symbol of transformation and new beginning,
Yes.
which I think is just perfect. Tell us about Mariposa.
Well, Mariposa is it happens to be the restaurant that I never expected to have, because I never thought that I would have a restaurant with a view. And it's been quite an endeavor. Mariposa has just turned 8 years old.
Wow.
And oh my gosh, we just have so many people coming from all over the country and the world. It's unique. The beauty of that restaurant is the natural setting. That
Hmm.
is the true art. So those floor to ceiling windows are meant to be the canvas. Let's say the backdrop is magnificent. We have a beautiful covered patio that just allows for people to, have that open air al fresco experience. But inside of the dining rooms, your breath is taken away. It's almost as if you enter a womb. It's beautifully adorned, as well as the acoustics are amazing. The food is the highlight, I hope, equal to the beautiful setting. We make handmade empanadas and ceviche and have delicious tapas. We do mussels with chorizo and roasted corn, and we're known for our steaks and our seafood. But the other thing about it is that you could be a vegetarian or even a vegan and eat like a king or queen, because we roast our vegetables in a big wood orno, and it's wonderful, bringing out that really rustic flavor of the veggies. All the veggies are organic. We have wonderful salads, and just it's just a very special restaurant, a little different from our others, which are equally as delicious, but don't have the view. So, quite honestly, Bonnie, I never thought that I would have a restaurant with a view. So I always tried to make the ambiance something that really warmed you and wrapped its arms around the patron. And now I have a restaurant with a view, and it's been quite a gift.
Oh, I am sure you couldn't pick a better spot to have a restaurant
Maybe
with a
you'll
view.
come for lunch when the
Yes.
girls are here. You could come for lunch or cocktails before you go to D&D. I'm hoping that I can see you on two occasions, because I think what's really interesting about the two restaurants on that side of town is that many of our guests dine at both. They
Mhm.
dine at Dahl Di Luca, the Shrine to the Divine, because it is so intimate, precious. Our little patio makes you think that you're actually in Italy. It's really, it is such a magical, intimate restaurant, but it's small compared to Mariposa. And Mariposa is grand with the big views and the wonderful rustic food. So many guests will spend one night in one and the other in Mariposa, but we have a great lunch, which is really wonderful. And sometimes people are just wanting to have that last wonderful lunch on their way out of town.
Yeah.
And Mariposa is perfect for that, but so are the others. So, Butterfly Burger is a great way to leave town. If you're leaving out this direction, you can't go wrong with that either.
Oh, they're all so amazing. And so Mariposa, that is on my list of things to do in the very near future. You've been featured in international publications. I mean, you serve so many people from around the world. You've won a great number of awards and contests. Recently, you were invited to the Wall Street Journal Global Food Forum, where you were among the nation's food giants, people from General Mills and Kellogg, and celebrity chefs like actress Jennifer Garner and co-founder of she's also co-founder of Once Upon a Farm, and Peter McGinnis, the CEO of Impossible Foods. And the discussion was about shaping the future of food. So tell us about that. How was that experience?
The experience of being on that panel with who I look up to more than you can imagine, the CEO of Union Square Hospitality, and the gentleman that has been with that company owned by Danny Meyer, who is so many of us as restaurateurs. He is our guru. I mean, he is someone that we idolize. So to be invited to be on that panel with Chip Wade was something that I'm still pinching myself, I'll be honest. It was really focused on the ever changing environment of the guests, and the things that we have seen that we've had to pivot since the pandemic and get back on our feet. And we had to change strategies as chefs and restaurateurs. And it was something that I'll never forget. And I'm still trying to understand how I even was invited, to be honest, because
Oh
it's such
my
a,
gosh.
oh my gosh, well, the contrast, I should say, the contrast of being a smaller town Sedona restaurateur who receives hundreds of thousands of guests per year from around the country and somewhat around the world again. And then, in contrast to the gentleman that is the CEO, as I mentioned, of a group out of New York that has some of the best concepts in the country, it was really a privilege, and I learned a lot. And I would love to do things like that even more in the future.
Well, I'm sure we'll be watching you more and more. I always get a lot of emails of news happening all around, as you can imagine. And whenever I see the Dahl Group or Lisa Dahl or whatever it is, I just go right to it immediately to find out what you're doing, what you're up to, because you always have so much going on. You also have two cookbooks. One is out of print, but will be reprinted soon. You already sold 20,000 copies of Elixir of Light. And you also have a romance with food, which is, to
Yes.
me, sums up your life. A romance with food, or your time with the restaurants, which made its debut just in time for Valentine's Day in 2022. And I have to say, I'm a little intimidated by the idea of going to a cookbook created by Lisa Dahl. But you say they don't call for exotic ingredients and no unusual cooking tools, and that even someone like me who likes to occasionally dabble in the kitchen can follow and make something incredible.
Well, I would not say that there are no exotic ingredients,
Maybe I
Bonnie,
heard that
but
wrong. Yeah.
I would say that anything that I have in the cookbook is something that you could find in a really, specialty groceries. But that's also reflective of my style. I like to know what I'm eating. I like to have the ingredients shine through. And quite honestly, what I've done in both of my cookbooks, The Elixir of Life and in A Romance with Food, is bring what I do in restaurants to the home chef. And if they fall in love with something they've had in our restaurants, whether it's our mother sauce or our, gosh, any of our foundational foods, I like to teach people how to achieve that at home and be able to have fun cooking with their families. And I have a mantra, which is when you cook with love, you feed the soul.
Hmm.
And that's really where it's at for me. I don't want to make cooking gimmickry. I don't want to make it daunting so that you would be intimidated. It's meant to be a fun, entertaining time that you bring back the family unit and have fun in the kitchen. And that's my pledge. And I can guarantee you, I can teach you to cook.
Oh,
I even had said that maybe when the girls come, maybe we could have a little mini cooking class with your friends.
oh
That could be a
my
lot of fun.
gosh, what an opportunity. Okay, well, I'll write that down too
Yeah.
to follow up on. That's exciting.
I think what we could have a little cooking class and then eat the food that we make for lunch.
Oh my gosh. Well, boy, you know when you throw an offer out like that, I can't hesitate but to jump. So very, very nice. You also have an Airbnb with a guest house. And that again, I was looking at that. I did not know about that, but your style and your interior design talent, of course, shows up there too. So that's another way we can experience Lisa Dahl's style. Your background is, in fact, in fashion. Your mom had an upscale women's clothing store, or several, and you got to wear
Several.
the very progressive designs that didn't sell perhaps in Indiana where you were raised at the time. So that, no doubt, I have to believe, helped shape who you are. Some really progressive thinking and some fascinating styles, I am sure, and how you present everything that you touch with style today.
That is such a compliment. It's a compliment to my mother, and I think she's listening to me because my phone has been dialing her recently, and unfortunately, my mom did pass away a few years
Yeah.
ago, but I feel she's always with me. But she inspired me to want to think outside of the box. You know, I was probably the only kid in high school that had animal print wallpaper in their kitchen. My mother was very bohemian. She was very expressive with color and with design. And it was really fun getting all the rejects because she was ahead of her time. So if something was very avant garde and was a little too much for Indianapolis, I got it. And
I
I'm
love it.
still kind of pushing that envelope a little bit. Every night that I'm in the restaurants, it's an opportunity for me to express myself through fashion. And I adore fashion. I can't make any bones about it. Gets me in trouble because fashion right now is so full of color and so fun. But you know, it's another canvas of expression, and I love it. It's
Oh,
just such a fun thing, and it also gives people the opportunity to dress up when they come in the restaurants and not dress down. But you know, we're pretty lenient with the dress code these days. But we see all kinds of expressions of how people feel about what they're doing in their life, and when they go out to dinner, they really want to feel special, and that's the hospitality business.
well, absolutely. And you do provide that opportunity and give people permission to dress up and have fun. Earlier this year, you received the Women's Lifetime Achievement Leadership Award, and congratulations. That was from the
Thank
Sedona
you,
Chamber of
Bonnie.
Commerce. You told the audience that when you opened your first restaurant, Dahl Di Luca, in 1995, there were absolutely no women in the commercial kitchen until 3 months into your first year. So we're going to have to like travel back in time and ask you to tell us what things were like in the culinary scene in Sedona 27 years ago. And also, and this always makes me believe you are so fearless, what gave you the confidence to think you could do this?
Well, that's a very big question.
Yeah, it's probably a few in there.
There, I will tell you back 27 years ago, there were a few famous restaurants in Sedona, but there were not many with the style that we had, which was very California Italian, I would have to say. I had been cooking a lot before I moved over and really just absolutely loved all the farm to table type of cuisine that we had in California, but we didn't really have a lot of that in northern Arizona, if at all. As a matter of fact, a lot of times I make a joke and say that basil was exotic back then, and it was very hard to even find fresh basil. So over
Funny.
these years, I got to know the purveyors, and I got to push the envelope a bit, and now I work with a huge organic farm called McLennan Select, and all of our produce is organic. But to me, that is such a big achievement because back then there was nothing like that. So little by little, I tried to get what I wanted, and I found specialty suppliers, and they really did shape the style of cuisine that we have now and that was very difficult to get back in those days. As far as courage, I feel like I was given an opportunity to heal myself through the love of cooking, which also always connected me with the memories of cooking with Justin,
Mm.
because we used to just love to have parties at home and think about what we were going to make for dinner and cook together and invite all of his friends over. And honestly, those are my most cherished moments as a mother. And I wanted to recreate that sense for others. It was always hard during the holidays because I missed my son and those family gatherings and Thanksgiving. So I somehow just took my heart and made it extend outward to others so that I could really forget my own sorrows and put that love and energy into other people who, were expecting to have wonderful memories in our restaurants. And it's been something that has honestly been my salvation. And it has
a lot to do with the writing of The Elixir of Life, which I can't wait to do the next series. But that was a memoir. The Elixir of Life was my memoir to healing through the passion of cooking.
Mm, yeah, that's such an incredible story. You know, people must ask you how you do what you do, how you can stay calm under pressure, how you look picture perfect all the time, never a hair out of place, how you stay thin, for example. So, what is your what is your secret? You know, we talked about you can't have one of those burgers every day, but you know, once in a while they're a special treat. What is your secret to staying in shape and having the kind of energy that you have to keep up with your very hectic and demanding schedule?
Bonnie, I can't exactly answer that. I feel that some of that is perhaps God given to me. I've always had a good energy, but I don't take that for granted. But I have a positive attitude. And if ever I've had to put that to use, it has been in these last 3 years since the pandemic. We have seen so much. I just can't begin to tell you how, fragile things were, but how uh, enthused we are to see our industry coming back, and especially here in this small tourist town that we love so much. As far as energy and stamina, I have loved to exercise all of my life. It's been one of my most important times that I regenerate my thoughts and deal with my own stresses. I have kind of a bad rap because people see me talking on my phone as I'm walking, but I have to walk at least 5 to 6 miles a day just to kind of keep my stress down. I've always been kind of a person that believes in moderation. I like to indulge in things. I have a glass of champagne every single night,
I love it.
but I don't overdo things.
Hmm.
I eat very natural, but I splurge. If I go out to Butterfly Burger, I have a half of a burger and I have all the goodies because I really love all the sides even more than the actual entrees sometimes. So I have a tendency, I have a couple bad habits. Let's say one bad habit is I like to eat late. I guess I feel like I'm in Europe. I always let our guests eat before us, and so I'm a little bit guilty of eating about 9 o'clock or 9:30 every night, which is not so good for you. But also, I love all the antipasto, so I fill up on the antipasto, and then I usually take leftovers and turn it into a great little snack the next day. But I do believe in balance, and that's just something I think I learned from my grandmother, who was just one of my idols. She was a great cook, she was a great entertainer, but she never overdid anything. And I think that's the best way to stay healthy and keep your sanity, especially when you have 6 restaurants and perhaps a very large team of family members that look up to you. I don't want them to see me in any way that would not inspire them to want to stay in this culinary industry and hopefully love hospitality in the way that I do.
Well, you must realize that women are watching you and taking notes about what it takes to be successful in business. Not just women, all of us, or all men and women, and especially in such a demanding industry. I came across this Instagram message just posted today. It's from becoming.diana. And I wanted to read this because I think it just sums up. It's the way I felt when I first met you. And so I really resonate with it. This is from Becoming Diana. She says, if it looks like I've been crying in this first photo, it's because I was. I was overwhelmed meeting Lisa Dahl this week. I teared up as we spoke because she's someone I respect and admire immensely. She has built a dynasty and endured so much pain and turned it into magic and success. Wow, just wow. And on top of that, she was even kinder in person than I could have ever imagined. If you don't know, Lisa is an award-winning chef. She's also an author, philanthropist, business hurricane, mother, mentor, and so much more. I've followed her career and journey for over a decade, and I'm so glad we connected. Go have an incredible meal at one or all of her restaurants in Sedona. Lisa, I love you. And I think that just says so much. You probably don't realize how many women you're inspiring. What advice do you have for young women who might be considering a career in hospitality or as an entrepreneur?
Well, that actually made me cry too.
Oh,
Because I remember meeting Diane and her husband, and it was such a highlight of my week. I can't begin to tell you. Um, I think that following the passion of what someone loves to do is something that is the best advice that I can give. There's always going to be challenges in business, but when you do what you love, it doesn't seem like work. I feel very, very much concerned in this day and age that we could lose the type of restaurants and hospitality that we have now. And I would never want to see that happen. So I really encourage women, men, boys, girls, just come in, join forces with us. And sometimes learning from the early stages, like if you're going to be a server, it would be great to learn how we make the food. You need to know all the components that go into this industry because we are serving people. That's what we're here to do, is to make people happy in their lives and let them forget some of their troubles that they might be dealing with in their personal lives. So it is a mission. And for those that enjoy it like I do, it's something that I think could go away if artificial intelligence takes over. So
oh
I
no.
don't want to see that happen.
No.
I want to see us still working with our hands and hugging people and not getting to where things are too automated, even though I know that that is coming. I still feel like we want to give people really great, heartwarming experiences. And I think there will always be room for people that want to start their own restaurants or have their own businesses around hospitality.
Well, you certainly have provided that for people for the past 27 years, people all around the world. And as always, it's been such an honor to visit with you. I so appreciate what you've created in Sedona, the impact you've had with your restaurants, and also being such an inspiration. Thank you so much, Lisa, for sharing a bit of your world with us today.
I could not be more honored. You really brought a lot of joy out in me, and also it's such an honor to be with you, Bonnie, and your viewership. Thank you for inviting me.
Oh, you're such a dear. Thank you, Lisa. And I'm inspired every time we talk. For more about Chef Lisa Dahl and her extraordinary restaurants and culinary offerings, visit thedahlgroup.com. Also, you can bring her recipes home, as we mentioned. Her cookbook, A Romance with Food, can be found at romancewithfood.com. And of course, read more at flagstaffbusinessnews.com. There are so many reasons to visit Sedona, and one of them truly is the food. At Lisa Dahl's restaurants, you can feel that joy and love that goes into creating the atmosphere and the recipes. This is Zonie Living. I'm Bonnie Stevens.